Everyone, welcome to PepoCoin channel. You do sign up as a subscriber. Guys, check out tokenized threads. Calm if you want to get some lovely cryptocurrency merchandise to help the channel. In the description below, there will be a link if you would want to check out our recently published entire new collection. Please do so. You are all welcome. But let me just say that for once, we are beginning to see a pleasant green day. This is on the major Black Monday fear porn, right? It's around these markets because everyone believed that there would be a significant bearish occurrence today. Is it too soon to declare that the bottom is in and that we are about to lose our minds? No, we're not. However, this is a great beginning. It's a great beginning. And it's encouraging to see the market beginning to level down. We still have a lot of work to do, and I'll list the specific things that must happen in the future in order to truly prevent another disaster. However, if we take a closer look at the market as a whole, which is currently valued at about $2.5 trillion, nothing is particularly noteworthy. Bitcoin remains below 80K. For a short while, it did regain about 80K. It was essentially short-lived. However, if we take a closer look at what's happening, we can see that XRP is still struggling to find some momentum in order to retake that $2 plus support zone. However, in terms of ancient coins, the majority of the market is still down. There isn't much green for the top 100 if we look at the top gainers and losers during the past 7 days. It's actually rather red. As I mentioned earlier, given how low many ancient coins are and have been over the past few weeks, we still have a lot of work to do before we can get ahead of ourselves and even become bullish again. Therefore, even as we wait for the market to truly turn bullish, we can still search for bullish signals or indicators that indicate a significant market recovery is imminent. HBR is one altcoin that, in my opinion, is thriving right now. The HBAR is up roughly 10%, around 15 cents. It did begin to acquire some momentum again. Because of how strong Bitcoin's dominance is still, I'm not certain that this is the bottom for altcoins and the market just yet. As I previously stated, since we are still below 80K, there is still more work to be done, even on the part of Bitcoin. I'll talk about that here in a moment, but first, let's examine the warning indicators, shall we? Over the weekend, we received warnings that Monday might be another Black Monday. Market stability and social media skepticism greeted Jim Cramer's Black Monday prediction. Thus, on a certain trading day, renowned financial expert Jim Cramer forecasted a catastrophic stock market meltdown similar to the 1987 Black Monday. In contrast to his prediction, the Dow Jones and S&P 500 witnessed tiny drops during the day, but Nasdaq concluded the day slightly higher. Due to the surprise market performance, this disparity between expectations and reality sparked a lot of internet criticism, with many people referring to the day as Green Monday. Naturally, online discussions emphasized Cramer's predictions' inaccuracy, with some amusingly speculating that his prognosis would actually anticipate market movements in reverse. We already know that this is the case, but the weird thing is that I did warn you guys over the weekend that Monday is probably going to be a good impulse move. Furthermore, I don't think it will be that bearish. When it comes to the S&P 500, this is how it does appear. Examining this on the 3-week chart, we can see that the bear market lows of cryptocurrency really date back to December 2022. Here we look very good. If you truly wanted to, you could now draw this in 2 distinct ways. Based on some of the other candle corpses here, you may draw it like this and conclude that what we lost is total. That indicates that we remain pessimistic. Alternatively, you might rely on the candle wicks here. Once more, I choose to follow the point at which the trend line was retested by the major impulse of the move. After, then, we begin acting impulsively. Additionally, we simply remained stable during the 2023 and 2024 cycles. And we're still clinging to this, you know. If you truly wanted to go all the way back into the macro, you could also draw it back to March 2020. Again, there are several ways to illustrate this. According to the bear market lows of 2022, you might draw it this way and say, all right, so we have a nice little wick here, slight wick below it. In terms of the March candle over the past 3 weeks, we already have the wick below it here. If you truly wanted to sketch this, there is one way to do it. However, as we are currently on the 3-week chart, it will be approximately 10 days before this officially closes out. If this begins to close much higher than any of the earlier highs, such as those from March and February of 2024. Therefore, I do believe that we are in for some bullish momentum to take up towards the end of this month and into May if we close above this level here. However, the pattern has been sustained by more than simply the S&P 500. For instance, the Nasdaq is also on the 3-week chart, which is how I've been analyzing this. This now extends back to the lows of 2020. The trend is being retested and holding up, so everything is going great so far. Additionally, the Dow Jones has seen remarkably comparable price movement since March 2020. We shouldn't be panicking just yet according to these charts. In actuality, price action shouldn't worry us in the least, which is why I believe that a large portion of the bearish sentiment in the market has been fueled by inflated news stories. Take the Jim Cramer Black Monday news, for instance. I believe that this caused everyone to overreact. They began selling off a few jobs, they began stockpiling shorts, and possibly even put options. And I believe that's the reason we're beginning to notice a slight squeeze taking place here. Do I now believe that this might swiftly intensify into a far more significant squeeze of 100%? We've actually witnessed it numerous times. I believe that Solana is a wonderful illustration in this case, if we do go and have a look at Solana. And I recall this in particular because it was a very busy moment in the market, and many people were saying things like, okay, Solana is dead. FTX is the reason it's done. I take it was in 2022? Everyone had a shortage of Solana going into January. In the end, there was a significant squeeze that went all the way up to about $30. It's about $26. 20 as in $26, exactly. But it went on, correct. We kept chopping a little bit all year long. Naturally, it was in 2024 that we began to go completely crazy and return to over $100. Naturally, this resulted in us reaching a peak of about $260. However, everyone was back at the bottom of the bear market and short Solana, simply to receive a full squeeze. And while everyone is still behaving rashly in opposition to all of the tariff talks and headlines, I do believe that will occur once more here. Even now, I still see a lot of people in terror. For instance, BlackRock has stated that we are most likely currently experiencing a recession. When is BlackRock going to be honest with us? They won't. This means that while I do not now believe that we are in a recession, I do believe that we are on the verge of one. Even if we are now experiencing a recession, we are most likely on the verge of exiting it, and if nothing else, are beginning to recover. And I believe that's the reason I don't really listen to BlackRock or what these major people have to say. What makes the most sense in this situation in terms of a recession? Since I continue to believe that there will be numerous problems pertaining to the banking industry by 2026, I believe that we are getting close to one. As we've been getting very close to the point when tax revenue will no longer support the interest payments on our debt, I believe that the debt we are currently accruing will reach extremely unsustainable levels. And after that, I believe that things start to change significantly, which is why I believe that the current recession worries are no cause for alarm. In my opinion, they will eventually be a major worry, but by 2025, we shouldn't be worried at all. In addition, the tariffs have been a source of concern for everyone. Furthermore, 70 nations are currently contacting the president to discuss new trade agreements. Now, Secretary Besant is saying this: the veracity of this is unknown to us. We're not sure if they're only trying to sell us on this. However, if this turns out to be accurate, I do believe that the market will likely begin to rebound significantly. Additionally, I believe that the relief rally will probably take place once more. Therefore, we will need to observe, wait, and see what transpires throughout the course of the week. I believe that during the week there will likely be a lot more statements regarding this as well as some additional clarification. However, we must simply wait for it. We don't actually have everything in front of us at the moment because a large portion of it is still unknown to the general public. Apart from this, though, I bring this up because many influencers, including this one, the Contemporary Investor, create excellent content. I've seen his videos.